And welcome to the Talon Outdoor Show. I'm Charlie.
I'm JD.
Captain Paul Tire.
And I'm Grant.
Right. Missing Fred today.
Yep.
Fred's gone again
Boy,
today.
that colonoscopy must have been bad.
Golly.
And this many
It's
weeks
been
later?
It's been 3 weeks now, isn't it? 2-3 weeks?
I think he's
He
down
must have been scratching his nose or something because it was.
I think he's down at the beach self-medicating with the lit elf.
Lit elf.
I'm sure he's having a good time. We were looking forward to having him back very, very soon. So this is the 4th was a couple days ago, and I don't know about y'all. I had a blast. I had a really good time. I know y'all, literally and figuratively. I was letting. All right, so y'all, JD, had the company thing we do every year.
Yeah.
And I say we, it's y'all because I stay
You're
home.
too lazy.
You're
too lazy to drive over from Marietta.
No, I got the whole family and extended family right there on the farm with, there's 60, 80 acres behind the house, and we're shooting fireworks out. It's laying in the pool, cool, with fans running. This year I got one of those big 4-foot floor fans that I use in the shed, brought it up there, and I put the water misters on it so it was spraying
that's nice.
the cool mist.
We had our 2 big fans out here running with misters on them. And
where were we all shooting the fireworks at?
about the pond.
At
At
the pond?
comp bays down the competition
how'd you
base.
get power over there?
I brought my generator from the house. This ain't all good looks. I keep telling you that. And
Thank God there's something else.
No, this ain't all good looks. I thought about how hot it was going. Dude, I got home from setting up. I kind of went out and did it in like 3 stages because I couldn't stay out there more than a couple hours. But as long as you got back into the air condition after a couple hours, it ain't bad. So, and then lit that redneck microwave up with 20 pounds of lump charcoal, and it got up to 1,072 degrees, I think, and cooked the hamburgers and hot dogs. And between the setting up and the taking down and the cooking the dogs and lighting the fireworks, I did not have a dry thread on me last night when I got home. I got in the cold shower and stood there for about 5 minutes just to cool off.
I had the same kind of. I had only mowed like half the yard the other day, and so I got to finish this, and I need to rinse off the back porch because the bugs and the frogs and stuff come up there, and clean out the windowsills and clean the pool and get this, do that, the other thing, and I might just drip. I hate it when sweat's dripping off my eyebrows onto the inside of my glasses, and I can't wipe it off without getting all blurry. That was all day on the 4th. And then finally, I just walked in and switched from shorts to a bathing suit and went and just got in the pool. But by that time, the pool was like warm bath water. And so it was.
The water up on Lake Sun was 91.
Ooh.
91.
Wow.
Like yesterday afternoon, evening.
Well, I sat on the end in front of that fan with that mister.
Oh, yeah.
And about took me a nap out there in that mess. And then folks started showing up, and we had the whole, the family and.
Rick did us right up there at the fireworks place there, just across the line. We had a heck of a show out here. If you're driving by on I-10 when all that's going on, you could park on the side of I-10 and look across the pond there at the range and have watched a pretty good fireworks show.
Yeah, Ricky's. So if y'all went up, took the van, you and Matt went up there, and. I was dragging. He said, well, I'll meet you up there. And I was dragging around a little bit. I just timed it off. I got there as y'all were leaving. And, of course, you had said something about all them boiled peanuts. So I'd go and get me a gallon bag of boiled peanuts, too. And those, I think that's Valencia.
They are Valencias. And actually, that is, if you're – my 16-year-old daughter is a boiled peanut connoisseur. She will turn her nose up at them great big ones with the old thick shell on them, I don't even know where those come from. But they're not local.
Spanish ones or whatever?
No, the Spanish ones are the Valencias, the little tiny. They're the little small.
I forget. It's been so long.
They're no bigger than your little finger for the most part, and have 4 or 5 nuts in them. And those things for boiled peanuts, that is the pinnacle of boiled peanuts. And I love. And I think she.
Where'd y'all get them at?
Right there at his fruit stand on 231.
Okay.
It's the State Line Fireworks and Produce. It's some semblance of that kind of name, but it's a State Line Fireworks. And Ricky, I think his dad's there, and if he's got family there. And anyway, they've opened a produce stand now. They're fixing to go full bore and do more. It's like almost a good advertising line. We went full bore and did more. They, but they're going to be adding some stuff to it. They had the Amish like pickled garlic and all that stuff in there now, a lot of that stuff and candies, and so I went over there and got some peaches and some stuff and some of the caramel coated popcorn, and I ate. That's what I ate. That bag was gone before I got to the house, and so, but the fireworks, I like it. You go in there, you scan the barcode on the fireworks, and
it'll give you a video of what it looks like.
He met me at the door and says, I said, all right, well, y'all just tell me what I need. And he's scanning this, and so the shopping cart kept getting fuller and fuller, and yeah, it was really cool. I'm glad I was going outdoor and handing me this little, what's it, like the incense sticks or something that you light them with instead of.
They've got a name, but I can't remember what it is.
Long
burning the punk sticks. There you go.
Sticks?
They're called punks.
Okay.
Punk sticks.
I had a couple of punks using them. So we got home, and it come dark. I went over to the edge of the pool and got out my pocket knife, started opening all the packages, trying to find the fuses. Probably should have done that in the daytime.
It helped.
So we had to break out the visor lights, and I got my nephew Eli and CJ, my boy, and got them over there. And Jessie had been working at the theater in Marianna, and she got off work a little early, so I got them over there. And got everything set up there in the backyard, and man, those mortars, and I like those boxes. It just,
Did you buy any of the new Roman candles? Did they talk you into
I bought that
getting,
big black Roman candle you
not,
got.
Not the big black one.
Not the Diablo 666.
I got that one too, but
now I'm gonna tell you, back in the bottle rocket and Roman candle wars of my youth,
right.
If I'd have had me a Diablo 666,
oh, it'd been on. That's like a minigun. That's like a minigun.
There's 666. No, it could have been 664, 668. I don't know, but after I'm like, that thing's going on forever. That could have been like a shoulder fired.
Yeah, minigun.
And they didn't warn you about not holding that. It was the other ones that you had that said it was like a shotgun. So tell me how that worked out.
Well, let me tell you about them things. That is a launchable flashbang.
Really?
Those things are so loud, and they were shooting them off after we got done with the big fireworks show. Mm-hmm. They were playing with them things because we had
a 5-foot tall box of fireworks in there when y'all come back.
Yeah, but we had intentions of rekindling the bottle rocket Roman candle wars, with the trash can lid. And I said, let's test one of these things out and see before we start squaring off with these things. I just want to know, because the guy said, man, these things kick about like a 12 gauge when you hold them.
He said, do not hold them straight in front of you, because the first one's going to recoil, the second one will go in your face. So I'm like, yeah, I don't want
hold them off to the side. Kind of thing.
I didn't buy any of those.
Those things go way up there, and when they go off, you can see it'll light the ground where you're walking.
Really?
That's how bright they are. I was wholly impressed with those, and I got to thinking that might be a good thing to keep some of them laying around the house, just in case you need to run something out of the yard, because.
That's not bad. I might stop by there and get me some of them. Yeah, they're open all year.
Go get some. So you go by there a lot more often than I do. Go get you a pack of them things, and
well, that'd be a good fire starter for like burn piles and stuff. You just pour some gas on it and back up. Ow! See how big a fire you can make.
It's quite a boom, and it's pretty loud and it's quite bright. So.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear.
It ain't the old colored Roman candles that we had when we was a kid that just go poof, and go about 20 yards out of there. Yeah, these things go 100 feet up in the air and kaboom.
You can shoot that in the water and go down.
Well, when I was a kid, I was impressed with Roman candles, and the older I got, the less impressed I got with just the little ones. Because you shoot somebody with them, they just bounce off. But you weren't really doing any damage.
You are not shooting at me. If you shoot at me with one of these things, I'm shooting back with something else. So I'm not. We're not going down.
Well, I know Rick and them made a big deal out of don't hold these in front of you, and they recoil like a shotgun. And I'm like, nah, I can't see that, man. No, but
yeah, it's.
I'm glad y'all at least tested them before y'all got in a fight with them. Can you imagine about halfway through that, everybody's chunking them and running the other direction?
With the amount I was sweating, the beer was not having the desired effect. There ain't no way I could have drank that much beer to let somebody shoot at me voluntarily with one of those.
We didn't go. We drug out the mortars. We were letting the kids light them all this year, and I'm there where I watch and just put something flat down there so they wouldn't fall over and stuff. And anyway, we'll be back in just a minute. And we're back. So when we left, I said that I was letting my kids light the mortars. Now, these are teenagers. They're not, like, I didn't have 7-year-olds out there lighting mortars.
Well, I had our kids,
Uh-huh.
our children that work for us helping. But when I saw who
Pretty
was
sure
going,
some of mine are more responsible than
when I saw who was going over there and who was actually going to be helping me or going to be doing it, I went over and heavily supervised the the chicanery.
So if you're ever driving down I-10 just after dark in Gaston County, leaving Leon County, and you cross Oak Lightning River Bridge and you look over to your right or your left, depending on which way you're going, over the pond, you see fireworks going off. That would be
it.
Be supervised by JD. I will be home. I have nothing to do with it. So if you get a bottle rocket skipping across your windshield, it's not from me.
No, we're far enough
That's
away.
my waiver.
We're far enough away. We can't reach the interstate.
Yeah,
not that we tried.
That far
Not
anyway.
that we tried, but we.
I can see him out there now. Get that bottle rocket. So, all right, no cars are coming. Shoot it that way. By the time the fuse got down to the end, there'd be like 7 semis.
I ain't gonna say who, but somebody may hypothetically have shown up with a parachute flare last night, like a real one from. I don't know where it came from. It wasn't where we were doing it. Just somebody maybe close by launched launched his parachute flare, and I'm like, I wish you wouldn't have done that. But anyway,
it's been wet enough. You're not worried about a fire.
Yeah, it went out before it got to the ground. That was a good thing.
And
And I had to go like, nobody would own.
Matt was probably ducking and talking about, I'm being exposed.
Shockingly, nobody would own up to it. So I'm like, who set that off?
That's what worries me about these kinds of things. But it's everybody gets to having fun and it's a good time, and then somebody tries to one up everybody else, and the next thing you know, well, I've not done that. It's like, that's not a fire. This is a fire. And but anyway, it was a good year.
Nobody lost any fingers, and everybody left full. So that's a good thing.
Well, y'all go see Ricky up at State Line Fireworks. The
produce stand.
Produce stand. I'm looking forward. Here's the thing: is I stop and buy some of the same stuff at other places, and I was in there the other day. I realized he had a lot of that same kind of produce and all. So that's good. It's right on the way to the Dothan Range. So I go by there every day when I drive up there. On the days I drive up there, so did you? The post debate stuff is still just digging and digging and digging. I think I'm curious to see, and I thought about this the other day because I was listening to Hannity when Peter Schweitzer and is it Eric Eggers, right? Yeah. I know another guy with a similar name. I always get them mixed up, but they were on. That was awesome. I'm tuning in. I'm listening, and I hear them talking, and I'm going, what the hell? I get on here? What is going on? I look down, and it was Hannity's show, and I'm like, got tired of being a guest. Just gonna take over.
I tell you, the folks in the political theater, political news, whatever you want to call it, this from now till after the election, I don't think those folks sleep a lot. They are constantly on TV. There's no way they're getting any rest. There's got to be rough on them.
Biden said he's going to bed at 8 o'clock. No more events after 8 o'clock.
Yeah, well, he should have went to bed at 8 o'clock that night of that debate because he said he almost fell asleep in the middle of that thing.
I thought
How
he
do
did
you
a couple
almost
times.
fall asleep in the middle of like the most important thing you're going to do for a while?
What got me is the next day I'm out here at the store and people are coming in, and we have a very, very diverse customer base, and happily so. And somebody came in and he's like, "Man, did y'all watch the debate last night?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we watched the debate." He goes, "Man, what's wrong with Biden? Man, did you see that? Did you see the way he was?" I'm like,
81 years old.
"Where you been?" I was like, "Where you been? You must not watch the
Everybody's
news
talking about that.
every day for the last however many months that we have seen this cognitive decline." Bless his heart. And I've been saying this for a long time. Somebody's essays to put that old man out there and put him through what they're putting him through is it's got to be sinful in some fashion or another.
Elder abuse.
It is elder abuse. There is no way around it. And regardless of which side of the fence, now everybody's kind of coming over to the maybe he don't need to be in that job anymore.
Even other than his closest people who are going to lose their jobs and their power when he goes.
Right. That's exactly.
And they're going to lose their jobs and their power, and they're going to be embarrassed because they're shoring this thing up and have been for so long. How did you let it get this bad? Their careers are pretty much done, except in the most.
Newsom just came out and was really supporting him.
What's that?
Newsom,
Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, well, he's supporting him because if he toes the party line, he may end up being the guy they want to replace him with. So he's playing that role. Oh, we support Joe Biden 110%, hoping that they're going to plug him in there. But he loses in polling against Trump too. The only person that has a chance in the polls right now beating Trump from the Democratic side is Michelle Obama.
Yeah, and she doesn't want to do it.
She says she does.
She says she doesn't want to do it because she hated the political thing when her husband was in it.
You think the person doth protest too much?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it's
well.
I'll tell you like this. I support President Biden. I fully support President Biden because he's the president. I support him because of the office that he holds and the what it means.
Someone
to
just
this
ran
country.
off the road right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have to pray for him. We got to support him because he is in the driver's seat for this country, and that's what it boils down to. But dadgum, let the man go home and sit on the beach and eat his ice cream. And take him out. He doesn't need to be where he's at because it's bad for all of us. I firmly believe that the reason the world is in the reason that Hamas went into Israel and the reason that Russia went into Ukraine is because of the weak leadership in this country. And I don't necessarily blame him. I blame the people that put him there.
Mark my words. If he gets reelected, China will go into Thailand.
If they don't do it between now and November.
If they don't do it between now and then, because the world is watching right now. Yep. North Korea is liable to do something. They're teaming up with Russia. Here's the thing, man, is we are the leader of the free world because of our power. And right now we have shown every weakness bit of weakness that we can have. And bless that old man's heart. They need to have replaced him already with, God help us, the vice president. She can't put together 3 sentences without getting a word salad going. But, and she wouldn't get elected. And they don't want to replace him because they know she's unelectable. Yeah. All right. So, and then how do you say, well, you're vice president, we're going to make you president, but you're not going to run. You're going to just get out of the way and let us plug a Gavin Newsom or somebody else in there. So, they made their bed. The problem is they made a bed for all of us and people around the world who are losing their lives daily because they did this crap.
That's like sitting halfway back in the bus and the bus driver sound asleep at the wheel. It's kind of the situation we're in. We're all in the bus.
Well, just ignore him. It'll get better in time. Just play it off like nothing's happened. No, that's where we are today. And and I've said it before. I'm no Trump fan. No. I don't. I would not want to. The things he says and his attitude and his narcissistic ways and he's just pulling up on a golf course the other day and somebody leaked the conversation. They just videotaped it with their phone. It wasn't a leak. They just put it out there where he's just bad-mouthing everybody and, that's just his way. But his policies and the things that he does, I'm cool with. And I'd rather DeSantis, be running right now. I think this would be a hands down walk away for the Republicans if they had someone who wasn't as
abrasive.
Yes. I mean, I don't want to go to lunch with Trump. I mean, if he showed up, I'd be respectful to him. He would, he's former president of the United States, hopefully the president of the United States again. If Joe Biden walked in the shop today, I would know he's lost because we're a gun store.
Yeah, he wouldn't come in here.
And he'd probably freak out the minute he saw an assault weapon on the air quotes.
Hey man, did you hear about this new technology? John Moses Browning came out with this new thing.
So President Biden, can you explain how this AR-15? Well, it has a lot of capacity, and it's the thing. It's this
30 rounds a second.
Who was
30 round ammunitions a second.
Yeah,
per clip.
Yeah. And then you got Harris over there, the vice president, talking about it's the limitations of the limiting factors in our society limit people because people don't understand how limited they are from the limitations of the. So it's really limiting, and we need to limit that exposure because of the limitations that people just are limited in their understanding. Or that's the way she talks, and I really. If you can't you can't rub enough brain cells together to actually be able to be articulate, and now.
And some of the ones on the Republican side ain't a lot better now. You got
to
admit that.
No, because we're running, and I hope I live long enough to be able to know what I'm going to be like. I probably wouldn't know because I wouldn't realize that I'd be out there. But if I make it to 80,
be shuffling around in the dirt out there in your bedroom.
I don't have any business running. At 80, I don't have any business running a business because I already know where I'm going mentally. I'm not going to be well. I mean, I'm going to be struggling. But I would hope my family would just put me on a rocking chair and
give you some
use
sweet
me as
tea.
a prop or something and go, hey, he's
put you on the rocking chair, give you a glass of sweet tea, and
just take care of me. But don't run me for office. Don't put me out there. I don't care how famous we become or anything else. There's just a point where you go, okay, we need people who are mentally adept. Now, listen, dude, there are people in their 80s and 90s that are sharp as a tack.
Oh, yeah.
But it is the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
All right. And I know I'm not going to be one of those, so because I'm already
you ain't one now.
I already get lost in the middle of stuff now. And
Y'all think there'll be another debate with Trump and
I'm skeptical.
I think Biden has to have one to save face
Yeah.
and try to do better. But Trump needs to just say, nah, I don't want to abuse this man anymore. Yeah. He won't do that. We'll be right back. So I want to talk about a little bit I'm gonna pull a Biden here. The thing, the Dothan range. For those of you that don't know, we've started selling some guns up there, and we're about to this coming week. We're going to take a few of our used guns up there and start advancing our selection just a little bit. We haven't advertised it there, but if you do come out and rent a gun, we've always had this deal where if you rent a gun, we'll discount the gun that you buy if you buy a gun that same day by the amount of the rental that's on our sign here in Tallahassee. But we'll do the same thing up there if you rent a gun.
And you like it.
Yeah, but you can't come back 2 weeks later and go, hey, I paid $10 to rent a gun 2 weeks ago. I want a discount off this gun. If you like it, you rent one. I want one of these, whether we have one in stock or not. If we have to get one from Tallahassee or whatever, we'll still discount that because we have access to a ton of stuff. Yeah. We just don't carry a huge inventory up there because we haven't had the volume. We're primarily a shooting range at our Dothan facility. In Tallahassee, we have the ranges aren't significantly different in size, but we've got 4 times the membership here and a much larger gun presence. But we do the cans, and a lot of y'all don't know that if you want a suppressor, we have the Silence Your Shop kiosk in Dothan as well. So you come in. We were walking in the studio a minute ago. This guy out there doing his own fingerprints on the kiosk, and we can help you with that. The whole process. We help you electronically file your Form 4, all your paperwork. The weights aren't that bad anymore.
I was reading, I read an article from Outdoor Life of all things. I hadn't read Outdoor Life in years, but now that they're online, and there was an article about the wait times, and we've been seeing this for a while now. As an individual, if you're filing as an individual for your tax stamp, we've seen some 2-day returns on tax stamps where. The last one I did was 11 months. So we've been seeing some. Right now, the national average return time is 33 days, so just over a month. But the downside to all that is now that the wait times are so small, you can't get the inventory is hard to get, or suppressors are hard to get. So, but we do manage to get some in, and we're selling a lot of them, and there's a lot of people getting into the suppressor. And I can't think of anything that I'm more for than suppressors on firearms, because you and I both suffer from significant hearing loss over the years being exposed to gunfire, even with hearing protection and using hearing protection. Most states now, it's perfectly legal to hunt with a suppressor, and you're saving your ears from, hunting rifle caliber guns that are really, really, really loud and detrimental to your hearing, especially if you're hunting in an enclosed stand or whatever. So it's a life-changing. I will never hunt without a suppressor again.
Well, one of the advantages is, so you're hunting with your child or your grandchild or something next to you, and you really should be wearing hearing protection, but we all know most hunters don't. But it doesn't take a lot of gunfire. I mean, obviously we've been exposed to an awful lot over the years, but you can be on a range even wearing hearing protection your whole career. You're still suffering some damage, but. So, I mean, it doesn't make, depending on the caliber that you're shooting and the type of, where you're at. I mean, when I'm shooting a 6.5 Grendel in an AR platform, or even that 6.5 PRC in that Christensen Arms, everybody around me hears me shoot in the other stands.
Absolutely.
But it's not a boom. It's a crack. And they really can't tell what direction it came from. It's kind of weird the way that stuff works. So they're truly, we call them silencers or suppressors, depending on which one you want to call it. The federal government calls them silencers.
Gun muffler.
Yeah, and so, so if you come in and you buy one, and we have access to anything in silencershop.com's inventory. So you can go to silencershop.com, and then you can just pick what you want. Pick us as the dealer, whether you're in Florida or in Alabama. You just pick, the Talon range, and you come in. We run you through the kiosk. We'll help you on the phone. You just have to log in the computer, do some things to process the paperwork, and you have access to your can during that wait period. So you can come out and
try it out.
We'll
play with
take it to the range for you, and you can shoot it, and then bring it back, and then go home. You just have to leave it there until you get your tax stamp. We'll be right back. So, when I was up at the state line, I picked me up a hat up there the other day. I got me one of them state line hats.
You trying to figure out what my hat is?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what that. You got that American flag logo on that. That's a pretty cool hat.
Yeah. So last weekend, my wife had gotten me. I've been wanting to see Cody Johnson in concert for a while. Cody Johnson's been around in country music for 20 years. And nobody heard of him until about a year ago, unless you're because he's an independent artist. He wasn't a signed contract artist, and he sings cowboy music for the most part. He's a Texan and a very proud Texan. And dude, we went up there to the concert, and it was absolutely awesome. He did an appreciation for law enforcement, military in the middle of the concert. Led the crowd and singing "God Bless America." It's just awesome. So, so I got me a hat. But the cool part about this, the weekend was this was a really short trip. We drove to Atlanta Saturday morning, went to the concert Saturday night, got us a hotel, spent the night, came home the next day. It was a whirlwind trip, and completely unplanned. We get up there. We left a couple hours early. But before we had to be there, before we could check into the motel that evening and get dressed for the concert because of Atlanta traffic. Yeah. So we get to the motel there in Marietta. The concert was at Kennesaw State University, north of Atlanta, up there near Kennesaw Mountain. Anyway, we get there a couple hours early. We couldn't check in the motel, and right next door there was a Gone with the Wind museum. Walking distance, we parked our car and walked over there because my daughter's into the dresses and the historic clothing and all this stuff, and she wanted to go see all of Scarlett O'Hara's dresses, And it didn't take long to walk through the little museum there, and it's cool. And we room still wasn't ready, and we had like an hour and a half before the room was ready. And I was like, well, what are we gonna do? And I said, we're not far from Kennesaw, the Kennesaw Mountain National Battlefield, Civil War battlefield, right up the road, like 4 miles up the road. And I said, y'all want to go ride around? I've been there before. And I said, you want to go ride around the mountain? They've got a road that you can ride through the park. It's basically just a big open park with a few cannons sparsely scattered around and whatever. And yeah, let's do that. So we get up there, we get right out, almost come around this big corner to where the park visitor center and all that stuff is. And as we round the corner, there are 6 cannons sitting out on the big green field out there, and Union soldiers all over the battlefield. And we're like, what the heck's going on? And my wife's like, there's got to be some kind of reenactment or something going on.
JD,
that's cool.
Went through a time warp. I'm getting my AR out. We're going to change the outcome.
They're back.
Oh, it's on now, Cletus. But anyway, we turned into the park, and they got all the big signs up. It's the 160th anniversary of the Battle of Kennesaw Mountain is happening, and they're there for the 160th anniversary of this Civil War battle. And I've done enough research on my great great grandfather and his father, my great 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 grandfather, to know that my great great grandfather fought in the Atlanta campaign. So, which is what Kennesaw Mountain is, the battle was about. It's kind of a running battle from Chattanooga to eventually Savannah, Georgia, when Sherman's marching across Georgia and burning everything. So we get there, we go in and park, and we don't have a lot of time to kill. But I go in there and I asked they have historians there that can look things up. And the guy said, how can I help you? And I said, he said, what unit are you looking for? And I said, I'm not looking for a unit. I'm looking for a specific person. And he says, okay, well, right, what's the name? And I gave him my great-great-grandfather's name. I said, John Thomas Reynolds. And on his tombstone over in Chipley, it says 2nd Georgia Cavalry. That's all I really know. And he says, okay. So he writes all that down. And he goes in the back, and directly here comes a guy walking out of the back carrying this big map. And he lays it down on the table, and he goes, okay, so he was right here on the battlefield. The 2nd Georgia was right here. It's not part of where he was at. It's not part of the park. It's the on-ramp on I-75 just north of here. So if you drive up this road and take a ride on the on-ramp to get on I-75, that's where his unit was at the start of the battle. They repelled a Union attack, and then they pulled. It was a cavalry versus cavalry attack on the north end of the line there, and then they wheeled around. The Union cavalry went to the south end of the line, so they pulled them out, and they went down to Cobb Farmhouse. And you can go down, but you can go down there as part of the park. So anyway, I'm all excited. The kids are all excited, and but we had to go. We had to go to the concert. Yeah. So the next day we got up, and as soon as the park opened, we were there. So we got to see. And long story short, we got to see a demonstration on the cannons where they fired off these 6 cannons. We got to see, and these were all Union soldiers, and then we got to see the infantry. They didn't have any cavalry there. They got to see the infantry demonstration, and the girls got to see them shoot the muskets and shoot the Springfields and that kind of stuff. And I'm looking around, not seeing any Confederate other. So I finally went up and said, "Hey, where's the home team at?" I asked one of the Rangers. I was like, "Hey, where's the home team at?" And he laughed. He got a kick out of that. And he goes, "Oh, they're down at the bloody angle or the dead angle at the other end, down at Chatham Hill or Cheatham Hill or whatever it is." And I said, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna go visit with them." So we got to go down there and talk to some of them. And I ran into a guy that was one of the reenactors and was telling him my story. And he goes, "Hey, give me your email address and let's exchange emails and give me what information you have." He said, "I live for researching this stuff." He said, and they did a explanation of both sides of the war, and I'm not a white supremacist, but it was enjoyable to hear both the guys that represented the Union, and these people from all over the country that came down here because of. Like the Illinois unit, there's a huge monument there to the 3,000, most of which were guys from Illinois that came there and fought in that battle. 3,000 of them casualties there. Oh, wow. Basically that one part of the battlefield was a huge number of casualties. But anyway, got to see some cool stuff. Had a guy there, Charlie, with a a Springfield rifle, and he takes he takes a little. He called it a looking glass, but it's a mirror, and it's about a 2-inch square mirror, and it's got some wire attached to it. And during this battle, they've got the requisition orders where from the quartermaster of that unit, where they're requisitioning hundreds of looking glasses, these little small mirrors. And the guy's like, the quartermaster's like, what the heck is going on? Did everybody lose their personal little grooming mirror during this battle? What is happening? Well, this was late in the war when both sides started digging trenches and stacking logs so that they had something to hide behind, because they're shooting at each other at 30 yards with rifles capable of hitting a target at 300 yards. And they're starting to understand that the old Napoleonic tactics aren't working, so they're not doing accuracy by volume, they're doing accuracy by accuracy. Wow. And so these Illinois units started taking their mirrors out, attaching wire to them, putting them on the stocks of the rifle, holding the rifle up over their head, looking at the mirror, lining their sights up, and shooting at the other side with a basically what in World War I they made rifles with periscopes on them. Yeah. So they're doing this in 1864. Wow. With these rifles that they're holding up and propping up on a log over their head so that they can shoot the other way without exposing themselves.
That's the 1800s version of Ukraine's drone.
Yeah.
We're just going to fly a drone over and drop a grenade in the trench.
Right, but the coolest thing about all this is that my daughter Amanda, that's 16, she's a sponge. She's just an information sponge. She got home and she starts looking into the family history stuff and starts finding stuff on the internet. And I got a letter I'm going to share with you after the show, because it takes a minute, that my great-great-great-grandfather wrote at the start of the war from Yorktown, Virginia, and it is one of the coolest letters you've ever seen. And she found that on the internet.
Really?
And, it's there's so much stuff that's digitized now that wasn't digitized when I started looking into this stuff. So kind of rekindle that, and she's enjoying finding out about her family. So it's been fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's but it was a great weekend, and I appreciate the fathers. It was a great Father's Day present for me. So
we'll be back in just a minute. And we're back. So how's the heat and the fish getting along?
It's been hot, but they've been biting. Man, you talk about fireworks on the 4th of July. I had a man bring his son over, and we fished that morning, and then that evening, and JD, he had a big one hit. I thought it was one of them big bottle rockets when I was right at dark, and I turned around and look, and he's fighting this fish, and Charlie, it was a giant. He come jumping out of the water. She didn't hardly get her head out of the water, and he's just constantly reeling. I'm like, oh man, fish comes up. I mean, this is 9-10 biggin, way bigger than that one I showed you a picture of. Jumps out of the water and throws the bait. The thank God for my Talon hat. The lure or the treble of the topwater bait came and stuck in my hat from like 10 foot away.
Oh no!
I said, don't jerk the rod. It was a giant. It was
Be
a
real
giant. It was a giant. But
Did he show you that one?
Check that out.
That's your.
The picture
drum?
I took the other day.
Was that a drum?
That is a black drum.
Black drum.
Probably about 40 pounds.
What'd you catch?
He's not holding it out because he couldn't.
He can't. Right here.
Yeah,
half as long as you are.
Down at we tried to go out offshore fishing last week.
Yeah,
and we got out past Cape Sandblast, and it was too rough.
Yeah.
So, and we were a bunch of old guys on the boat, so we turned around and came home and caught that one in the right in the mouth of right in the cut where you go into the marina there at Port St. Joe.
Oh, I caught fish
off the
right
hill.
That
was on. Believe it or not, that was about a 35 pound drum on 12-pound line.
How long did it take you to get it in?
I don't know. I wasn't timing it, but I was glad when we finally got it close enough to get it up there and get the hook out of his mouth. I was tired.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I showed you earlier. I have a young man I had last Friday, and Aiden Park. He's 15, and he caught his personal best, like an 8.5 pounder. That's the 95th one for the year.
Wow.
Had like 10 in the last couple weeks. but that water's gotten clear. Now it's hot. Like each morning, it seems like the bite starts to slow down about 8:15, but from daylight to then.
And then from what for about 8 o'clock to dark. The last
night
hour
we fished,
or 45 minutes.
We got out there at 7:30, and it was still brutal. It was like there was still a heat
advisory.
Advisory that late. It was 91 degrees at 8 o'clock. The water temperature was, and as soon as that sun got behind the trees, then they started biting a little bit. We ended up catching 6 like yesterday evening. No big ones. The big ones they're biting in the morning right now.
All right. How about the brim and shell cracker?
Brim are still bedding,
doing their thing.
You know, we had a new moon.
Yep.
And there's definitely been some brim on the bed. They've been biting. Still some mayflies happening up there. Haven't heard about any mayflies on Talcon. Have you heard any about any? But I know you can go down Lake Talcon and fish around those trees on those banks and catch fish.
Had a guy in the store this morning before we recorded the show. There's a guy in there. He'd been fly fishing this morning on the Oak Lightning River, and he ties his own flies. So he's taking a popping bug like you were using, and running a small wet fly a few inches below that popper on top. He's been got him some kind of rig, and he goes, "Yeah, you catch the little ones on the popping bug on the top." He said, "You catch those big old copperhead,
that's
big
cool.
old copperhead bluegill on the trailer basically that's below it." So
that's cool. So that's what I've been doing. When it's hot like this, I kind of. Like with those folks, I'll split it up. We'll go out in the morning, then come back in, then go back out in the evening.
You ever fish at night on Seminole?
I do. I'm more running around at night, but yes, I do fish out there at night.
Because this time of year, when
not in the Spring Creek as much.
too many stumps and but I can see not back in the day. Lake Jackson, when it was in its heyday, night fishing was a huge thing. My bass boat was rigged out with glow lights and everything, so I used to fish a lot up there at night and catch some monsters.
Old jitterbug,
man, old jitterbug.
You ever fished a jitterbug, Charlie?
No.
JD, you got to show him that thing has a big old bill on it. And just kind of go bloop bloop bloop.
It looks like 2 teaspoons on either side of the plug, and it kind of just goes bloop 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 across the top.
I've seen that.
Yeah. Or the jitterbugs that are a three blade buzz bait.
Yep.
The ones you can pull real slow.
Yeah.
That old floop, 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 floop. Yep. And, man, you can't see your bait. You throw out there far enough.
You hear it.
You just hear that, and it sounds like you threw a pound of nails over over the boat, and hang on.
That's right.
So, it's fun stuff. You can still do that. I think you could. I know Lake Ammonia, where I live, is popular night fishing.
Yeah.
Man, by that usually I'm in the bed by 9:30. I'm not want to stay up all night and fish anymore. When I was a young man and worked a lot of night shift, I used to get off work at working 3 to 11 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd get off work at 11 o'clock at night and go load the boat and go fish till 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes fish to daylight if it was good.
Except on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, there's generally a bar in there somewhere.
Yeah, Riverfront did cut into my Thursday night fishing for sure back in the day.
I'm at time to get off work, and JD's coming out with a pair of cowboy boots on. I'm like, you're not off the clock for about 5 more minutes. I'm still at work.
I'm here. I'm
here. I hadn't left yet.
Yeah, Charlie was on the squad that relieved me, and I'd meet him at the door. It's like one of those runners, you're down in that stance in the runner block.
We're holding 2 calls. They couldn't leave yet because he's changing into his Riverfront get up.
Have my hat, my boots, and my roper shirt on, like I'm ready to go.
Trying to get decked out like Garth Brooks or something, and head on out to the bar, and that was and then 28 days, whatever, and how many days later, it didn't flip flop because we had this weird
backwards
way to rotate. I hated
backwards
that.
28-day backwards against the clock rotation.
That's just abuse. And the only reason they ever did that is because it works out well for the calendar. It's terrible for your employees. 28-day rotation, 8-hour shifts, 3 to 11, 11 to 7, 7 to 3, and
you'd go from working 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. to working 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. So you went from up all night to having to get up early in the morning and go to in a 1 day or 2 day transition period of time. So your body just gets so confused that.
Do they still do it like that?
No.
They've
They've taken pity on these new folks.
Yeah, they do a lot of different stuff now. Of course, a lot of cops now working so many off-duty details and stuff. It's the same kind of thing. They're just pushing themselves to the limit to make more money. Yeah. But I remember when you'd hit the midnight shift after I think you were working. Was it the day shift, and then you went? I forget which way it went. But all I know is when I hit midnight shift, about 4 o'clock in the morning. It better be a straight road I'm on. We're doing it at the sheriff's office too. You don't want to put me up in zone 3 around Miccosukee. Because I'm just saying.
Still to this day, I have a superhuman ability to fall asleep anywhere, anytime, in any position. I can at the drop of a dime, I can go to sleep if I just get still and quiet. I'm out. It don't matter if I'm sitting up, laying down, or balled up in a knot somewhere, because you have to be able to do that to work those shifts when you're changing. You're changing every 28 days.
Well, we knew it was bad because we'd have deputies falling asleep, police officers just fall. I mean, for the sheriff's office, you'd have people fall asleep, run off in a ditch.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, you just get to the point where you just absolutely could not stay awake. It was like Joe Biden in a debate. I mean, it was they've done since we did it for a living that long ago, a long time ago. They've done a lot of studies on things like so what do they call it, circadian rhythm or whatever, where you're so anytime I had the opportunity to stay on a permanent shift, be it day shift or night shift, I'm very happy with that. I loved permanent midnight shift where I'm out there same time. You're awake at the same time, you're asleep at the same time. You get used to it. You can adapt to it, and I never had trouble sleeping in the daytime. I hated
still don't.
I hated working day shift on patrol. I stayed away from it. We went permanent shifts. I was always a night shift guy. I got moved to patrol as a supervisor, and we couldn't have 2 SWAT guys on the evening shift. Or something was going on, and I had to get a day shift for a while, and I was miserable.
Yeah.
Then, of course, when you become a detective and do all that stuff, you got to go through. You got to work day shift, but it's you got a lot more freedom there. The patrol, detective, you got tinted windows. You can pull in the parking lot somewhere and take 10 minutes if you have to. But
pull over and take
on patrol, you can't.
Just for the record, Paul, I don't miss any of that stuff. I'm perfectly happy with my life now compared to then. I don't miss none of that stuff. Charlie still wants to dabble in it. I want nothing to do with it.
I like training in it. I don't want to do it anymore. I like teaching it because I know it, but I don't like. Don't put me in a uniform. Don't put me in a patrol car. Don't send me out to work the zone. Even if just the thought of having to write a domestic violence report right now just turns my stomach.
Answer a barking dog call.
Because it's 9 times out of 10 it is
neighborhood squabbles.
Well, I'd go to a barking dog. I don't have a problem with that. That's just getting out talking to people. But it's the nastiness between people and dealing with the drama. And you've been there 22 times. You're going back 22 more, and you can write all the paperwork, do all the stuff. Nothing's.
When you don't have to look at your notes to get their name and address and the driver's license.
Write the report without even going.
Yeah.
All right, we're done. See y'all next time.
Without even going.